What is wisdom and how do we tune into it? All right, that is the question today. And that is the question for number 115 on the list of the 144 fractal faculties of the Tree of Life. If you'd like to get your own copy for free of that a list of the 144 fractal faculties in abstract form, just a couple sentences on each one, just leave your email in the comment section and I will send that out to you for free. Also, you can watch my video called Tree of Life, an introduction, to get you up to speed to be able to follow along on all these videos. If you want something a little bit more thorough, or actually a lot more thorough, then you can pay $10 to my Cash App or Venmo, and I will send you a copy of my book called the MASSTree, which is an introduction to the Tree of Life. All right, now, when we look at the tree here, you got to keep in mind that this is basically a map of our consciousness. And each one of the circles or spheres on the tree is an aspect of our consciousness or a faculty of our consciousness, a capability of our consciousness, a parameter, a potentiality of our consciousness. And there are 12 of them, numbered 10 through 0. And then there is also an abyss right here in the middle here. So that's a total of 12 different aspects of our consciousness. Now today, when we're looking at number 115, we are here in the second sphere. And the second sphere is one of our divine faculties that are up here, 3, 2, and 1. We've got omnipotence, all-powerful, omniscience, all-knowing, and omnipresence, all present everywhere at once, eternally. And so we've got here, number 2, that's what we're dealing with, omniscience, or the wisdom faculty. And omniscience is not really to know all. You don't know how many, what the temperature is on the surface of the sun or something like that. That might be accessible through the abyss, through the psychic powers. But here, the wisdom faculty is really to be able to focus on solving our problems and even avoiding our problems, anticipating and avoiding all our problems, and being able to solve other people's problems. Now, solving other people's problems is what a wise elder does, also an oracle or a divination system. People here, free will actors, will ask of a divination system, a tarot deck or something to that effect, different questions about their own life, and they'll be able to get answers. They can also go to the wise elder to do that same thing. Unfortunately, there aren't too many wise elders left in our society, so that it usually doesn't work anymore. Now, the reason why a person here has to take an indirect approach to this wisdom faculty, to our ability to solve problems, is that they're not able to accomplish the demands that are needed here at the second sphere to activate or access that faculty, because that faculty requires really the ability not to think deeply, but to not think, to be able to shut your mind down, because what happens is that your mind is always giving you limitations. It's always advantaging the status quo. It's saying, oh, you can't do this. This is impossible. This is where you are right now, and this is outside of your league. And so it's always kind of suppressing solutions, dismissing solutions that are that it perceives to be impossible or highly improbable. And it's always dismissing those solutions, but those are the very solutions that arise here at the second sphere. So when we solve a problem with the A sphere, which is our, our logical thinking faculty, concrete logical thinking faculty that we use to take things and divide them up into different categories based on their surface or superficial characteristics, we end up getting the Hydra problem, where we solve one problem, but we create two more problems in their stead. So that becomes a problem here at the eighth sphere. But at the second sphere, the problems that we get from not thinking, the problems that we get solutions to from not thinking, do not create ancillary problems or externalities. But this is very, very difficult. If you doubt that, just try to sit down and not think for a couple hours, and you'll realize that you only can do it for about 10 seconds at a time, unless you're an experienced meditator, in which case you might be able to do it for a minute or two at a time. But to be able to really just completely shut your mind off or to focus on just one thought, as opposed to going into this train of thought. Now, our thoughts are coming to us from some source that we don't have any control over, but what we do have control over is our ability to direct those thoughts once they come. We get one thought and we turn it into this train of thought, or this stream of consciousness, where like one thought leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, and you're not really conscious of the whole process. It's just kind of like rolling over you. And that is what we're avoiding here. And so we're able to get some kind of clarity. Another analogy would be kind of like a body of water. Thinking of the mind as like a body of water, and being able, and every time you have a thought, it's kind of like a pebble that you throw into the water. But if you're able to shut your mind down, you're able to calm your mind, and the waves of your mind are still. And once you get to this certain stillness point, or if you see this in a lake or something, once it becomes still, it becomes transparent and you can see through it. And that's how the wisdom faculty works. And you're able to see all the way to the bottom. And at the bottom, or in the center, is this first sphere, the higher self. And that's what you're seeing here with the wisdom faculty. You're seeing the higher self. And that image of the higher self is the solution to the problem that you're looking for. This side of the tree corresponds to our vision. So this is what we're seeing. Whereas this side of the tree is auditory. Okay, now the second sphere is our one of our 12 faculties of consciousness, the wisdom faculty, our ability to solve problems. Now, how do we get from 12 faculties of consciousness to 144 fractal faculties? We're taking the tree of life to the second power. 12 times 12 is 144. So what we're really doing is we're taking a miniature model of the whole tree and we're applying it to each one of the spheres. So in this case, we're taking a whole tree and superimposing it on the second sphere, thereby breaking down the second sphere into its 12 categories. So the second sphere has a mini 10th sphere and a mini 9th sphere and a mini 8th sphere, and etc. inside of the second sphere. And today, for number 114, what we're really looking at is we're looking at a mini 4th sphere, within this second sphere. So we're really talking about the fourth sphere within the second sphere. So what does the fourth sphere correspond to? Recall that the fourth sphere and the second sphere are really kind of like brother and sister. And they both really correspond. In the Egyptian, they are brother and sister. This is Ma'at, and this is Tehuti, and or Thoth. And Ma'at is the scales of justice. And Ma'at has to do with the cosmology, has to do with how everything, or the Tao, how everything fits together in the world, all the different cycles of life and death in the world. And every civilization or every group of people has a creation story. Where do we come from? What are we doing here? What's the purpose of it all? What's our relationship with God? And so on. And these are summarized in cosmologies, written or oral media that purport to talk about everything, theories of everything, grand unified theories. As such, the fourth sphere also corresponds to the universals: universal law, universal love, and universal language. It also corresponds to scientific insight, our ability to go inside and to determine our scientific laws. This is a higher level of that same thing, where it's more referring to revelation, not the scientific laws, but really like the religious laws or the religious being. Not really religious, but of or related to the Creator. Okay, so we're really thinking of this fourth sphere being inside the second sphere. And that's where we get number 115, which is called revelatory insight. Stage number 115 is about a complex spiritual communication with our intuitive source, or Holy Spirit. These revelations are not just for solving individual problems, but particularly universal problems. Wisdom, our ability to solve problems, is our highest aspect of omniscience. Wisdom or revelation is a complex, advanced level of intuition. Intuition is universally available to all through wondering about simple ethical problems, but it can be developed into a higher state, first into scientific insight, and then into revelation, a revelatory insight or wisdom. Intuition is instantaneous before the lag time, the brain's lag time, that results in visual and verbal thought. Wisdom comes in the same message as thoughts, but it precedes thoughts. Revelation or wisdom is the first transmission to us before it becomes an image and is then articulated in words. So even when we suppress the articulation of the words of the thought, we can still know or feel what the words were going to indicate. Wisdom is pure consciousness, but it is then tinctured and tarnished with the emotions, passions, and desires of the flesh, which you can think of as a thought drift. Intuit the what, when, how, and why of events. Intuition shows the way to achieve the equilibrium between the interests of the whole and that of the person. Intuition is to correctly learn from within one's own spirit. Intuition gives inner standing, which then must be verified through experience. And intuition can be developed over time to get more complex transmissions known as scientific insight, and religious revelation or wisdom. Revelation comes in jolts, pulses, or packages of energy. When deeply tuned into wisdom, we can resolve problems before they even arise, making it look easy. Grace. Okay, that is number 115 on the list of the 144 fractal faculties, the fourth fractal of the second sphere, revelatory insight. And what I didn't mention is that, the intuition really starts out here at the seventh sphere. This is where we get the elementary intuition, which is our ability to, to have solutions to very simple ethical situations. This is a universal thing. This is everybody has this within them, and it's easy to develop it. It's easily accessible. But as we move up the tree, it becomes more and more rarefied. And so, the intuition becomes the scientific insight, and then becomes the revelatory insight. But each one is more demanding in terms of, what is needed in order to open this up. In order to open up the scientific insight, we need to do great amounts of research and study to be able to even decode the information that we're getting. And here, then we need to be able to shut the mind off entirely to be able to kind of perceive this information, this energy pulse as it comes. Okay, now if you, again, would like to get that free list of the 144 fractal faculties, just put your email in the description, and I will, or in the comment section, and I'll send that out to you. And then also, if you would like to get my book, Tree of Life, a MASSTree, Introduction to Tree of Life, that's $10, and you can put that in my Venmo or Cash App, and I'll send that to you. You can also donate directly to me through Cash App and Venmo. They're both listed in the description. Stay tuned for future videos here coming up on this channel. Number 116 will be on tap for tomorrow, and many other videos are in the preparation stages here, and hopefully things will be shaping up by the end of the year here, and we'll have some great things in store. Otherwise, have a great day, and we will hope to see you soon.